Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is me once again, screaming into the void of the internet. Got a 12-hour shift tomorrow. Well, it might not be. It's definitely a 10-hour shift, but it could be a 12, depending on, you know, uh, how late we get out and things like that. So who knows? But wanted to come on here and discuss something with you, and it's the topic of finances. Finances. Now, funnily enough, I'm up pretty late. I was playing video games all day and night with my brother. And so, I'm kind of suffering consequences because I have to wash my uniform, but it's whatever. Sticking to the topic, finances. Um, been talking to my friend, like I mentioned, my brother. Been talking to my roommate. Been talking to even a few coworkers, and I like to look at where people are in life, and it's not necessarily a sign of I'm better than you or something. No, I'm curious about how they're doing, and it's so interesting to me to listen to how there are people who are earning more than you, but because of how they live, they're not thriving, and it's insane to me because in the time that I have started working and things like that, I've made changes in my life specifically so that I could thrive. My friend earns almost twice as much as me, but most of his check goes to paying rent because he's in a very nice neighborhood. But it's costing him pretty much 4 times what my rent is here. Now, yeah, I live in a room, but it's like at most he should be paying twice what I am paying in rent. He's paying 4 times that, and so despite the fact that he's earning double my wages per hour, he's the money's gone. And I was listening to this person because they were talking to me about the motorcycle that I want to get and how dangerous it is and how all it takes is one accident and stuff. And I was like, yes, there's no denying that. But I talked about how owning a car in today's day and age is just so expensive. It's so expensive, especially with full insurance, because if you don't have full insurance, they're not going to cover your car. And even if you do have full insurance, they do everything in their power not to cover your car. So you're talking about paying off a car. You're talking about the gas, and you're talking about the insurance bills. Then you're talking about if something goes wrong with it, and it's just such a headache. It's such a headache. And it's not that I don't want a car. I obviously wouldn't mind a car. Obviously, a car overall is more comfortable. It's safer than a motorcycle. But at the end of the day, it's very, very expensive. What I could pay here in a motorcycle insurance, I could pay $65 the whole year. Someone is paying car insurance $200, $300, $400 a month. A month. You get what I'm saying? And so, I'm talking about this because I'm talking about, no matter what I told that person, they were like, hey, a car is still better, a car is still better. And it's like, where are you in life? Where are you in life? Why are you still out here, driving around and Ubering people if, this is clearly the better choice? And I'm talking to you guys about this because I'm not going to come on here and say that I've got the secret of wealth, that I'm doing well, that I'm cocky and I'm feeling myself or anything like that. But it's just, why is it that people refuse to just accept that, if I really want to acquire wealth and things like that, and I don't mean wealth as in rich, you're stacking and stuff like that, like rich people, but if I want to keep my money, then I need to make certain changes to my life, One of the ways that I will honestly admit that I've saved tons and tons of money is just because I literally made sure that when I moved close to my job. Now, I understand that not everyone's job is going to be close to them, especially if you're in a rural area, but most people in America, let's just be honest, live in very city areas. They're in a city area. So if it's possible, and you're trying to save as much money as you can, you really should consider moving, to somewhere where the commute for your job is not going to be that bad. It's amazing to me that people will say that they want to save, and they'll talk about how hard it is to save in this time period, and then at the same token, they're going to parties, they're going to raves, and they're just spending ludicrous amounts of money that they don't have. And it's one of the best ways that you save, guys, is just live below your means. Not even within your means, live below your means. Here's a saying that people don't want to hear, but it's absolutely true. Act broke, stay rich. This does not mean that you have to walk out the streets like a beggar. It doesn't mean you need to walk out that door with holes in your pants. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means do not flaunt what you don't have. Sure, you could, in theory, let's say that you got a nice fat check. You could go and buy, like, I don't know, a ring, super expensive jewelry or something like that. But if you keep doing it because you're trying to show off for the internet and you're trying to show off for people, you're not going to have any savings. If you keep going to, like, parties, especially as a man, because let's be real, like, younger women enter for free. Men usually have to pay a fee, and they know that because the women are what gets the men going there, because they're trying to get the women. And so if you constantly go to those nightclubs, if you constantly go to those parties, if you're constantly paying those tickets, you're not going to have any savings. It's going to add up. And that's what those places count on. They count on the business of men. What you have to understand is that assuming a very unassuming persona, and what I mean by this is like, not drawing attention to yourself, not standing out, doing everything in your power to just look small, not small as in vulnerable, but small as in, I don't want you to notice me. That keeps the attention off of you. Now, don't get it twisted. People are still going to try and scam you. They're going to try and get whatever they can out of you. But it keeps the attention off of you. It keeps the spotlight off of you. And it's easier for you to go unnoticed and keep your wealth than it would be if you have, like some kind of massive drip on in terms of like, some super expensive suit, this thing of shoes and suit. So a super expensive suit, really expensive shoes, name brand stuff, a chain, like all this crap, all these just unnecessary things, right? When you choose to live a more unassuming life, people aren't going to think you have anything. And that's the best thing. Like, guys, I'm not flexing, but I'm at the point now where I can afford expensive payments. Let's say that I needed like some kind of, I need to pay off a hospital like visit or something, which I told you guys, I'd rather die at this point than go to the hospital and have them like tell me that, okay, you stayed here for like one night or something like that, and we injected you with crap that you don't need. So that's going to be like, insert X amount of dollars, like in terms of like maybe even a couple thousand. There is a chance that with what I've saved, I could pay that. There's a strong chance that I could pay that. And even if I couldn't pay it right away, I could probably pay it in maybe like 2 or 3 checks, right? There's a strong chance that I can do that. And I am very thankful. I'm very thankful that I can do that. And I owe it partially, just honestly to you guys. Just in terms of telling me to prioritize my life, I owe it to you guys. And I owe it to myself. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just for like me, this success. This success is for you guys. I hope that I can inspire you. Not through just motivation, but just through the fact that, guys, listen, if you look at how long I've been doing videos and stuff like that, and you look at like the difference, like you can change. Things can change for the better. I'm not going to pretend I know when, and I say this all the time, but they can change. But when it comes down to like the journey, you got to accept that there are going to be sacrifices that you need to make. You have to acknowledge that every time you choose to spend money, that's something that you can't get back. It's very easy to spend money, harder to earn it, Every time you sit at that wage cage and you're there for an hour, it's just, who knows, maybe $14, $15, maybe $20 if you're like in a better paying position. But the time that it took you to earn that $20, that hour, you can spend it in seconds, minutes. It's very easy to spend money. It's harder to earn it. So you have to treat it like that. You have to treat it like, hey, everyone and their mom is going to be trying to get my money. I should be looking at it from a more like defensive, I don't want to say prey role, but it's like you should just expect that like all of these places are predators trying to prey on your money. And you need to say, I need to stay away from these predators. You need to, because they will screw you. They don't have any consciences. This entire capitalist society, and I don't say this as some communism cocksucker or anything like that. I just say it for what it is. America is designed around doing everything in its power to get that dollar out of your hands. They tell you that you need to work for the almighty dollar, but they are pissed if you keep it. They don't want you to keep it. They want you to put it right back in this economy, and they want a few people to keep their wealth, and no. You don't get to keep that. You give that back to us so that you can be a good little wagey and a good little slave with little to no freedom of your own. Because the more money that you have, the more FU money that you have, which means, hey, listen, I don't have to work this hard. Hey, listen, I don't have to worry about losing this job. Like you're good for months if you're good. Heck, if you wanted to like leave the country and, travel the world, you go to a different country, like you'd be surprised. Like just say like 20 grand, which trust me, I don't have, so don't get any ideas. I'm not flexing. 20 grand, other countries, you could live like a king. You could live like a king for months. Months, easy. You could retire with 100 in certain countries. It's that crazy. So don't get it twisted, guys. Like I don't really believe, again, like I mentioned in the previous video, that it's over in the sense that you can't do anything at all. I do think that you can. I do think you can at all. I do think, but it takes discipline. When it comes down to like your finances, guys, you got to understand that. Yeah, I hate waging. And I'm sure you hate waging too if you are waging. So a lot of people like say, "Oh, I'll never be a wage cuck," and by all means, it's your choice. But you also have to accept that. Again, unless you're going to Minecraft yourself, you're going to have to face the next day. And every day you choose not to like earn or do something that can hopefully put you in some kind of advantageous position, then you're going to be in a more disadvantaged position. And it's sad to see some of these channels out here who have the audacity to say, "Oh, I deserve this and I deserve that and I deserve this and I deserve that." And it's just, regardless of how black pill everything is, you have to admit that some of this is your fault. There is no possible way that you can tell me that if you consistently choose to take a path and it's going down, a really dark path in terms of, you're not getting the success that you want, you're not getting what you want, and you still remain on the path and you don't make any changes, at a certain point, who is pushing you down the path? Is somebody forcing you to do it? Is there a gun in the back of your head telling you to do it, to walk forward? If you keep walking it, it's on you, And again, I'm mainly speaking about this from a finances standpoint. I'm not talking about this from any kind of relationship or anything. Because yes, is this economy dog crap? Yes. Yes, is it harder to make a living? Yes. Is it impossible? Not necessarily. What matters is how you go about it. And a lot of people, respectfully speaking, just do not have the discipline. They don't. Like I like talking to my roommate because in a lot of aspects, when you look at somebody who is older than you and who has had more time to be working than you and they have less money than you, you look at that and you go, how is it that you call men, losers, you call them brokies, broke arse niggas, right? All that good stuff, right? And yet you with your job, the boss babe mentality and all this stuff, you can't handle being unemployed for at least a month. Your savings isn't good enough to where like you can be unemployed for a month and you'd be fine. And like you ain't no boss babe. Like sure, you're not a boss babe. You could be making $60 an hour, but if you are spending beyond what you are earning, and it is very easy to do that when you are trying to flex to this useless social media. Yes, you can advertise to every man in the world and every woman in the world that you are available and that you are just awesome and that nobody's better than you. But I assure you that somebody is. Somebody's got more than what you have. Somebody is more attractive than what you are. And flexing for the internet is not going to get you rich. And now that they're coming after influencers with the amount of money that they're making and taxes are really cracking down on influencers, it's getting a lot harder. What I'm trying to get at here, guys, is this. You have to accept that if you're going to do something in the realm of like make sure that you're acquiring wealth, you need to be willing to have some discipline and structure. And that's what you need in life as a whole, discipline and structure. You need to be disciplined when it comes down to your health. You need to be disciplined when it comes down to, honestly, your purpose. And a lot of people walk around here purposeless. What's my purpose? My purpose is to just be able to enjoy life. For the first time in decades, I was unable to enjoy life for the most part of my life because it was garbage. Whereas a lot of people want to go back with nostalgia and they talk about, well, this would just be a wonderful time. It's not wonderful for me. I don't want to go back. I understand why you want to, but if I go back, my life is garbage. You go back, maybe you get to enjoy some stuff. I go back and I get to enjoy hell. No, thank you. I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to, do everything I can to navigate accordingly. Because I'm telling you guys, by the end of this year, if I keep grinding away, like a air quotes good little wage cuck, like people want to talk about, I could have 5 digits, hopefully, if not more. I could do it, and I know it's feasible. I know it's feasible. I just have to put the work in. And I don't say this because I adore work or I celebrate work or I worship the almighty dollar. I don't. I really don't. But I don't want to get screwed. I don't want to be homeless. I know what being homeless is like. I know what sleeping in a car is like. I know what being cold and just holding a dog for warmth is like. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. Do I think that you deserve certain things? I don't know. There are certain people that certainly deserve to be out in the cold and thrown out. The people that are ruining your life and my life and all that, yeah, they don't deserve a freaking home. They don't deserve, the high cuisine dining that they have done. They don't deserve any of that for the lives that they have destroyed throughout this world. They destroyed millions of people's lives, if not billions. But they enjoy that all the time, So you got to just kind of accept that the world is dog crap. And if you can carve a little bit of it out to, have some semblance of peace, then you do it, which is what I'm doing. When it comes down to my finances, what keeps me, honestly, grounded is just the fact that I know that I do not need to make the decisions that other people make. A lot of people make some very stupid decisions with their finances. They chose to have kids when they could not afford them. They chose to spend money that they knew that they didn't have consistently. They chose to buy a car and these car payments that they can't afford. They chose to even go to college when they knew that they couldn't afford it. I'm not going to do it. Avoid debt. If you can avoid debt, you avoid debt. People like to tell you, don't be afraid of going into debt. You should absolutely be afraid. Debt can garnish your wages. They can just come and screw you over. Don't trust going into debt. Don't trust anyone telling you to go into debt, even if their lives are comfortable. There are people out here who can live very, outwardly beautiful lives to other people. But inwardly, it's not good. You should not want to go into debt. You should avoid it like the plague. You should avoid being anyone's slave. Other than, obviously, the wagey and this horse crap economy in society. But the last thing you want to be is, somebody's slave to debt. Because then they can just come and just reach their hands into their paycheck on top of the fact that, the taxes. And depending on where you are, the taxes are really gnarly. So you don't want to go into debt. Trust me. Avoid garbage relationships. And I don't just mean this, romance. I mean this, whether you got a friend that's just asking you for money all the time and all that stuff, avoid them. Only prioritize people that are actually going to help you grow. And they're happy for you. They're not mad when you're doing well. They're happy for you. If they're mad that you're doing well, you leave them alone. That's not your freaking friend. And also, most importantly, do not advertise. Don't advertise what you have. I made the mistake of telling a family member what I had, and they felt like I could just spare them some money. Nope. Cut them off. Don't talk to them anymore. That's exactly what I did. Because it's not my job to help you. Because you sure as heck didn't feel like it was your job to help me. So when it comes down to your finances, guys, you just got to you have to be completely self-focused, self-centered. Do not have a soft heart. Don't be giving people money out like that. Don't let someone try and convince you that you have to be altruistic. Because listen, this is the black pill world. Where's the altruism for the guys who are just looking for love? Oh, why is this ugly arse nibber walking up on me? Did you actually think I was gonna date you? Look at all you incel losers. Oh, boo-hoo. Somebody hurt your feelings. Where's the altruism for you? Don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. Remember it. Remember, give them the same energy that they give unto you. Do unto others. People hear that and they think that means you're a doormat. No. Mm-mm. When I hear that, I see, no. Give people the same treatment that they give me. If you're treating me that way, you must want to get treated that way. I will never intentionally treat you that way. I will go ahead and give you what you give to me. Give me some respect, you'll get respect. You don't give me respect, I'm sure as heck not giving you respect. Give me blatant disrespect, then yeah, I'll go ahead and disrespect you back. I don't have time for that. Simple as that. You know? So, I don't want to drag this on for too long because I can go on and on, but I just need to get back to, my laundry, which actually finished. So, I just need to dry it, and that's going to be me going to sleep and getting ready for the next day. But yes, guys, prioritize your finances. And honestly, if I could just reiterate, remember, at broke, stay rich. Don't spend money that you don't have. Even if you have money, remember, it's much easier to spend it than it is to earn it. It is very easy to just spend, $300, $400, $500. It takes a while to earn that $500 though. Even if you're working if you're working at a job where you're getting paid $20 an hour, okay? $500. Think about it. $20 an hour. 20 times 5, right? $100. So in order to get the $500, how much are you gonna do? See what I'm saying? It's 20 hours, if I'm not mistaken. 20 hours. It should be, at least. Now, hang on. Let me just make sure. No, is that like a... Dude, my math is terrible. Hang on. I'm gonna whip out a calculator. This is completely like unprofessional. All of these videos are just me in the dark. Let me just see. Yeah, it's 25 hours. 25 hours. There we go. 25 hours. That's what it was. But yeah. It took you 25 hours, even if you were at a job where you were being paid $20. And you could spend $500 like that. Gone. So you kind of have to be very conservative with your money. Not kind of, you must if you care. Don't flex your car. Don't feel like you have to drive certain things. If you got to drive a car that's like, well made, but it just looks goofy, you drive that goofy ass car. Get you to point A to point B, you're protected from the weather, you do it, Now, heck, I'm going for a motorcycle mainly because, again, I don't want to deal with the insurance. And I'm going to do that. Because until I am comfortable, there are things that people are trying to hype me up on, like, hey, I need to get health insurance right now. Hey, I need dental insurance right now. And like, listen, these things are awesome, but they're bills. They are bills. Period. And let me tell you something about bills. It's very easy to just keep stacking on bills. It's harder to cut them off because they'll try and convince you that you're not supposed to and that you need this, but let's be real. They do everything in their power to not pay. So listen, when you're on the saving arc, you kind of just got to accept that, hey, listen, I just got to roll with the punches. If I get sick, F the hospital, I'm just going to tough it out. If I'm on the savings arc, I'm going to just have a set amount of money, grocery bill wise, that this is just going to be what it is. If I got to eat the same thing over and over again for like months, you do it. Because you're on the saving arc. And then when you build your funds, then you can go ahead and try to transition into, more trying new things and things like that, and maybe getting health care and things like that if you can. And if you can't, it is what it is, I'm not promised health care. I'm not promised, like a lot of this stuff. This country does not care about me. They don't. That's what I've accepted. It is what it is. And I sure as heck don't care about it. I'm not loyal to them. They're not loyal to me. It is what it is, But I'm going to stop rambling. Because I got to go get my laundry, guys. But let me know your thoughts on stuff like this. What are your thoughts on ways to build wealth? And I'm not talking about like some bullcrap, cryptocurrency or the stock market. I just mean like building wealth in the ways that most people build wealth, like working and things like that. How do you hold on to it? What's your ways of budgeting? How do you cut costs? I'd be very interested to know, Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. God bless. I'll see you next time.